What's up, everybody? Alex here. This is the Miyoo Mini Flip. This is Miyoo, or Miyoo, however you want to say, their next handheld, which has been long awaited. And as you know, they did the Miyoo Mini and the Miyoo Mini Plus, which are both adored little handhelds with a lot of support, very good value for money, and just very pocketable, great time, plays up to PlayStation 1. We've talked about them a lot. Finally, their clamshell has arrived, and it took a long time. So long, in fact, that Anbernic beat them to the punch with the RG35XX SP, which I've modded a little bit. And generally, this is a handheld that people think is excellent. And it can also play like PS1, it can do some PSP, Dreamcast, and yeah, I had to mod mine a little bit so that the buttons weren't as loud. I think the newer models you can buy now kind of rectified this and made them softer. I find myself not playing this so much. I might gift this one to like my brother or something because he's kind of a fan of the old clamshell design. But yeah, the 35XX SP, what a word, is pretty damn good. I had some good and bad things to say about it. I think the hinge is excellent, but it only snaps to one place. Apart from that, it's just very good at just doing what it does. Shuts, goes here, excellent. Let's have a look at the flip now. This is the Miyoo Mini Flip, and I was actually just a little bit surprised that it's kind of a little bit smaller. It's hard to tell on the camera here, but it is just a little bit smaller and a little bit thinner. Comparing the two like this, it doesn't seem very obvious, but because they are very small in the first place, I noticed it immediately. I was like, okay, that's cool. The plastic is smooth. I wouldn't say it's like a high quality plastic, but it gets the job done. Now, for the price I paid for this, I'll get into this in a little bit actually, but let's open it up. I think I have it in Hibernate. So this is the Miyoo Flip. It has everything you're used to: face buttons, menu buttons, start, select. This has the added benefit of two analog sticks. They're kind of like Vita joysticks actually. They're sort of like right down there, and they're not like circle pads or anything. They do tilt. So they tilt left and right. It's not like a circular motion, which I wouldn't mind. For example, with the PSP Go, this has a circle pad, circle stick, whatever you want to call it, which I actually quite like. I wouldn't have minded a couple of those, but still, that's just a preference thing. I think a small handful of people like those kind of sticks. I'm one of them. But these sticks in general, they have a little bit of travel, and they're not bad. I mean, when it comes to what you're going to play on this device, you'll probably never use the right stick. The left stick is not too bad, and we'll get into some of the gaming later because I prefer to get into the games when I do these like little looks or reviews or whatever. On the top, you have L2, R2, L, and R1. You have an HDMI out, USB, so you can connect this to a TV and play it, set up wherever you like. But I don't think Bluetooth is on by default with this device. You would need a custom OS to turn that on, which is frustrating. USB-C here and a jack. Now, this jack is going to be important because here is where the sound comes out, and it's not very good. We'll show a couple of examples of this later if my microphone can pick it up, because it doesn't get very loud, and when it does get loud on some games, the quality, you'll want to turn it down. If you take it to max, I'll show you with Crazy Taxi that it doesn't feel very good. Let's do a quick comparison to the 35XX SP. So you can see that it's just laid out very similarly, but this has sticks. However, it's going to be really weird talking about these two, because I'm going to say that the SP has a better build quality, but I like the thought that's gone into the flip more, if that makes any sense. Like, I was just going to mash all the buttons, but let me just open up a game quickly. Any game, just Crazy Taxi. Now, when I'm mashing all the buttons, everything is silent. Every button is silent. I love it. Very, very silent. I don't have any complaints about the buttons. I did think that the travel on the face buttons is just, I don't know, it's very, very short, but you do get used to it. Whereas on the 35XXSP, even though these are custom buttons, it was like kind of normal to have like just a little bit more travel, a little bit more push in there. But I have to say, I got used to this. I actually quite like these buttons now, and I actually quite like the D-pad on here as well. At first, I thought it looked a little thin and a little flimsy, but when I started to play like fighting games on here, it started to make sense that I was able to do more accurate inputs because this is a small device, and trying to roll your thumb around and do things, it actually made a lot more sense because I was hitting all my inputs very accurately. Whereas the 35XXSP has a thicker thumb pad, so like rolling around, there isn't quite as much as a pivot in the middle. So when I'm trying to roll around and do like a Hadouken, Hurricane Kick or whatever, definitely found it easier to do on there. So I like the Flips D-pad a lot more than the 35XSPs. I'm just going to call that the 35 from now on. So let's talk about the hinge, because this is a weird one, because I love the fact that, okay, so I'm going to shut it and it goes into hibernate. And when I do this, it can go pretty much where I want it to. And I can just, if I do that, it doesn't really move very much. Here's its first position. Wait, is there another one? I've just confused myself. Yeah, there's the first position, and then here's the second position. And I love that the Flip does this, because the 35, you can push it back, but it goes all the way back there, so past the 180-degree angle, but it's not meant to go there. If I like just flick it a little bit, it'll go back to its one position. So the 35 only has one position. The Flip has two positions, which is awesome. And I love the 180 degree, because if I'm playing this in bed or something and I'm laying back, this is like the perfect way I want to play this, because I can keep it like at eye level without straining myself too much or my hands. And yeah, I'm very glad that they thought about this. The only thing I don't like about this hinge, I don't know if you can hear this very well. There's a lot of noise to this. It's almost as if like there's all like plastic in here and plastic around the screen that is like just rustling against the shell of the device. And I know you're not going to be doing that constantly, so that's not really a big deal. It's just when you like shut the device, which I do have to say has a kind of fun snap to it. But if you don't do it properly, if you shut it kind of slow, you see this? If I just wiggle this around a little bit, it doesn't stay like magnetized close. I know, again, that's not a thing you're going to do, but I felt a little bit uncomfortable about that because it does wiggle around there. So the only two hinge points it really has is there and there. But like I said, I'm going to have this opinion where I go, I like the thought that's gone into here, but I like the build quality of the 35 more. So it's one of those things where, like, if they put their heads together and then they made the ultimate clamshell, could be pretty cool. But yeah, this is why I'm doing this comparison video. So you can sort of look at this and go, okay, maybe someone didn't talk about that. That kind of matters to me. So for the price of the Flip, I do think that it's a little bit lower quality than you're expecting. But at the end of the day, once you've shut it, open it, and you start gaming, now you're at the bit where you're just playing the device as you should be, and the buttons feel great, the sticks are not too bad, it's all very quiet, and I very, very much like that about the Flips. That's great. So now we've talked about that a lot. Let's go into the actual games. So I have stock OS. The device came with a 64 gigabyte SD card. This actually has two SD cards, so you can dual boot. And there are custom OSs. I'm not going to get into custom OSs yet because I think some of them are either like newish or need more development. I very nearly started to try Gamma OS, which is an Android OS that will work on a Linux system like this, which is pretty cool. But It's something I want to try out in the future when like it's more developed and things, because I've heard that like it drains the battery a lot and other things like that. So I'm going to leave that for now. So basically, I'm just going to review the OS and the SD card that came with this, because it comes with games. And also, I did actually take the SD card in my computer and I put some N64 games on here because it didn't have very many and they weren't really like good tests for the stick and stuff. So I thought, okay, I'll leave that be. I'll put some N64 games on here and a couple of Dreamcast games as well. It came with Dreamcast games as well, not very many. And yeah, let's have a look at some of the 3D games. So this is Zelda. And I'm pretty sure that in preparation, I thought I did it in preparation. Maybe I need to change the core, because I had a little thing here where I was changing the core in one emulator and then I went back to a different emulator and the core was already changed. And I was like, but I didn't change the core there, so that's strange. So let's exit out of here. Oh, I opened Majora's Mask. That would be why. I thought I opened Ocarina of Time as like the same intro. So yeah, that makes sense. But I did have the problem where I went to Dreamcast and it was opening a different core than I had originally picked. So here is Ocarina of Time. I'm going to turn the volume up as much as I can. And on a game like this, at full volume, it isn't terrible. It isn't like incredibly offensive because the sounds in this game aren't very like abrasive. But if you were going to play like a game with CD quality like PS1, PSP, Dreamcast, there are some games on there where the sound will just start clipping and distorting. Anyway, I'm going to turn the volume down just a little bit. So, by default, all these games will run on RetroArch and they're all set up a certain way. So if I go to native menu, you can see that's RetroArch, and you can like tweak the controls and stuff there, which I have done for certain games. I'll show that in a little bit. So here I'm using the joystick and I think it runs really well. I think if you're going to play a game like this and use the joystick, you probably want to set it up so you're not using like the shoulder button so much, so that you can just keep your hand comfortably down here and then this up here. And it works a lot better if you play it like this rather than keeping all your hands stretched out all the time. So I can, I put Z to the R button. I can easily lock on, jump around. Oh, he's trying to grab that for some reason. So like this, I actually find it extremely comfortable to play. Maybe a different story if you're laying down in bed or something, but with devices like this, you have to sort of also give it the credit that this is incredibly tiny. Just pop that in your pocket because it is so small. Bam, you're on the bus or something, train, whatever. Oh no, this is taking longer than I thought. What happened? What? Wait, this doesn't do this. What happened? Okay, that's weird. Did I press the power button accidentally? I think I've seen in some reviews that there is still some iffy stuff about the software. So if that's the case, I'm showing you right now what that is. Okay, that was weird. Maybe I'll try that again. Okay, so shut. Maybe I have to leave it a bit. And then. Oh my god, that is really weird. It's only when I'm recording videos that this happens to me. That should just flip up and actually work without doing that. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to turn this off and restart it. And then I'm going to turn it back on. You have to hold the power on for a little bit. I hate when stuff like this happens because sometimes I just want to do like a one-take video, but at the same time, it's nice to show you that like a hiccup has happened, and then you can see that in real time something is not right with the device, and then you can go, okay, that's weird. I'm just wondering if I like accidentally pushed the power button whilst I was. opening and shutting it the first time. So let's start that again. We'll go over to Nintendo 64, and where's Zelda? Ocarina of Time. I don't know if you noticed my battery is that it looks around 50%. When I try some of the higher end devices like PSP and Dreamcast, we might see that this actually draws quite a lot of power to play those games. So we'll talk about battery in a moment. Okay, take two. We're chilling out, playing Zelda, we're just sitting on the bus or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Gonna shut it. Okay, this is another thing about the hinge I noticed. Like, sometimes you don't get a successful shut. I wonder if that has something to do with it. There we go. It's working now. Fine. I'm just glad it's working, because now you can see on the video that something happened, and you can make a decision based on that. Which takes me to my point of custom OSs. Like, I really thought about putting a custom OS on here, but I thought, you know what, I'll just try stock for a while. I'll see what that's like. I'll probably make my decision to change to a custom OS in the future. I'll buy like a brand new SD card just for that, and hopefully it'll be good. I am quite interested in Gamma OS, but at the same time, I still don't know if I'm going to keep this as like a main. Like, is this something I'm going to travel around with? I mean, I do love the fact that it's very, very pocketable. And despite my comments earlier that for the price, the build quality isn't probably up to scratch of the price, I do actually like a lot of what it's doing. Which is, I don't know, it's a weird thing. So, for example, if I bought, which I did, the Retro Pocket 5, which is about a $200 device, which has a great OLED screen and all this other stuff. If I bought that and the build quality just felt bad, sorry about stains there, if it just didn't feel like a $200 device, at that price point, I would definitely be more miffed about it. For a British term there, I'd be miffed. Anyway, let's go look at a game that has some more movement. Let's back out of here, because I actually wanted to show with Super Mario 64. So when it comes to a device, you know, so this is a small handheld, it's a clamshell, the buttons are the way they are. I think with any device like this, it's always a chore trying to be very precise in one area, then using the shoulder buttons at the same time, and it can, you know, get tiring and it can ache your fingers and so on. Oh, that's right, I replaced this ROM, because the ROM that came with the SD card was actually a Japanese ROM, and I replaced that with a US ROM. So this is Super Mario 64, so I'm going to try and get a little more comfortable for a moment. And it runs really nice, the stick runs really well, but when you think about like the Z and L and R buttons, you used to like popping them on all up here. But I set it up with RetroArch, for example, because, and I haven't said this yet, this device has L3 and R3, which is awesome. So in this game, for example, while I'm running around, I don't need to use L and R so much. I can literally, I put Z on here, by the way. So I'm going to click Z, and now I can do my long jumps just by using L3 and jumping around. And that makes it really cool for doing stuff with. And I can access the camera. All the C buttons are set to this stick. So what would I be using the shoulder buttons for? So that is Z and this is Z. I think this is R and this is L. But I put L down here. I can't remember what R is for in this game. But I was playing this earlier, so on the Japanese ROM I actually did like 5 or 6 stars or something. And I just found it really comfortable to play it like this. I don't know if anybody else has tried it this way, but for me that was like a game changer. Like, oh yeah, sticking Z on the L3, that's so genius. There we go. Sometimes, because the travel of jump is because there's just no travel to this button. It's just so instantaneous, and that there's more travel on this stick button than there is in this. So sometimes I'm pressing jump before I'm pressing crouch, so I accidentally do like a ground pound every time. Just wanted to mention that. So I'm not really sure. I just kind of want to play it for a bit because I actually find it really comfortable playing this game. And when I think about, say, okay, so with the 35, you don't have a stick. You always have to like press like the power button to swap the D-pad to change that to whatever the joystick would be. And it's okay. It's okay. But the fact that we have a stick on here is actually pretty damn nice. So I'm just going to like run around and get to the top of this place. And hopefully not suck too much. I know, I've gone all quiet now. I'm focusing on trying to get up this place. But I'm actually really happy with these sticks. What else can I say about the sticks that might be useful information to you? I've already kind of shown the travel of them. The fact that they're so small is they don't travel very far. So sometimes you feel like you want to push, and because they don't go very far, it can feel a little stiff. So the only advice I can really give is that if you have used Vita joysticks before, they're similar. Oh my god, he just threw me off. Oh, that poor piranha. That was just a casualty, man. I didn't mean to kill him. Oh, Christ. But for a game like Mario 64, you know, you're constantly moving around, pushing around. If you're not too heavy on your thumb, it's actually alright. So you would just have to get used to the travel of that stick. Is there anything you can do about that to make that a little more easygoing? I don't know. See, for me, I would prefer circle stick or something because I find it very easy to adjust and move the stick around. Because this is an actual stick with tilt, it goes so far, and then you have to readjust your thumb every time you want to like do something in a way that isn't as comfortable as a circle stick. But again, that is just me and a preference thing, so I just want to point that out. But yeah, Super Mario 64 runs really, really well on here. Let's have a look. Is there any other N64 I want to cover on here? Because okay, so games like, there are some games like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark do not run on this. I don't know why. I've tried different cores, doesn't seem to work. So there are some games not working for some reason, and the only thing I can say to that is maybe a different OS or an update in the future will fix that. Probably going to be an OS option in the future that has like better functionality and just more optimized for everything on here. So it's a weird one. If I said, should you get a Miyoo Flip now? The only reason I kind of got it is because they're selling out so quickly, and I think I managed to jump in on the second batch. I saw like a Reddit post. I was like, okay, I'm going to jump in on this. So I got this yesterday, and I think it's really fun. But if you want like the most bang for your buck from this device, I'd probably say wait a bit. Wait for the OSs to get better, so that when you want to just chuck a custom OS on here, it'll just work with a lot more functionality and play certain games a lot better. I think in that regard, Dreamcast and PSP will definitely run better. Where is Dreamcast? Sorry. It's here. So, yeah, let's have a look at Crazy Taxi for a moment, because for the most part, quite a lot of these Dreamcast games, run really well at a high frame rate, but some of them are not quite as stable. So like I was playing Sonic Adventure 2, there are definitely dips. If you remember the San Francisco level, when you're like being chased by that 18-wheeler like all the way down, definitely dips there. Not terribly, still definitely playable, but now, did I make a save state? I did. Oh god, okay, I just remembered, I forgot to talk about this. The Flip has a rumble feature in this. I don't know whereabouts on the board there's a rumble, but in this game it goes crazy. Let me turn down the volume. Right, the volume is down. I'm going to put this up to my microphone. That is the rumble just going crazy for some reason. I don't know if it's something to do with the car in this game, but the rumble won't stop. Oh my god. Listen to this. I don't... Why is it like this? I don't know how to turn off the rumble without opening the device up and like pulling it out. Oh my god, it doesn't stop. It's really loud and it's just rumbling my fingers. Okay, let's turn the volume up. Okay, that's Crazy Taxi at loudest volume. And it's like clipping and hurting my ears. I'm so sorry. I'm going to turn that down. Okay, I just wanted to show that. Apart from that, Crazy Taxi runs quite nicely. So, I don't know why there isn't a setting where you can't turn off the vibrator. God, it's vibrating like crazy. The last time I played this and turned it off, the vibrator wouldn't stop. I had to shut down the device. I don't know why it was doing that. I didn't mean to pick them up. Crazy Taxi is also one of those games that works well on a D-pad, so it's quite comfortable playing like this. We'll play a different game that uses the joystick in a moment. I was going to test Sonic Adventure 2 and test out like a Knuckles level, because there's more movement in those areas, but for some reason the game just keeps crashing on me, so I'm not going to test that for this video. But it was quite stable. Oh my god. Okay, I'm going to turn this off. It's screwed up. Listen to this rumble. It won't stop. It won't stop. Please. Oh, thank you. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, so... Sorry. Let's go have a look at Jet Set Radio. Jet Grind Radio. Whatever. From the US, Jet Grind Radio. Europe, Jet Set Radio. So, I'm going to load up a level, because I played this earlier. So, let's say you got a 35 XSSP. You're playing Dreamcast. You got Jet Set Radio working on here. You've set the analog stick to the D-pad. And then you get up to do your first graffiti. It doesn't work. It won't work at all. But because this has a joystick, it 100% works. Now, this is one of those games that's not perfectly smooth, but it's playable. But I think a custom OS with a Dreamcast core in the future would make this more playable. So I'll go down, circle, circle, circle. You couldn't do that with the D-pads on these devices. So finally, in this form factor, you can play Jet Set Radio and it works. And to make it, you know, more nicer to play, I'd keep my hand down here. I think, let me go find some graffiti cans, because I don't have any. There we go. Now, I think I have set it also so that L, because you have to press the L button to tag. Let's just knock this person over. I think I've set it to left stick click. Lovely. Oh my god, the rumble. I don't know if you heard that. It just went crazy again. This device has insane rumble, and I'd love to turn it off. I don't know how you turn it off. There was a couple of things I looked up about the Flip when I got mine, like on Reddit and Google, and I could not find answers for them. So one was like, how do you turn the rumble off? And oh, there was something else. I'm not sure what it was. Oh, please land. Thank you. I used to love this game as a kid. There might be a setting in RetroArch that could make this a little bit more smoother, but I haven't had a look. Like I said, for the most part, I'm just testing stock OS options. Mostly default, besides adding a couple of ROMs and changing some controls. For me, it was kind of like a game changer to bind some of these options to the sticks instead. So L and R buttons to the sticks makes some of these games much more comfortable to play. Even though I have no problem with these buttons. Oh god, let me talk about that actually. Totally forgot about this. So this is my 35XX this goddamn name. Slightly modified. I do remember making some of the buttons quieter. And when I shake it, still quite rattly. This is the flip out of the box. That's the flip out of the box. Just not loud at all, except when you do that. I'm sorry, I'm so rough with these. But I thought that was quite cool. That was another thing I appreciated, that it just wasn't rattly. It's always annoying when you get a device and something is like immediately noticeable that you don't like. So with the 35, it was the extremely loud buttons, and this originally was a lot more rattly. Rattler. I don't know. Rattly? It was louder. It was very loud. Okay, so also this came with like a bunch of light gun games. I never bothered playing these because I'd rather play a light gun game with a gun, but with a cursor on this, it's actually not too bad. They're actually quite fun. So that changed my mind a little bit. Let's have a quick look at PSP, because as usual, my videos do tend to go on quite long, and sometimes when I do it like this, I'm not sure how useful they really are. There's a couple of games I tested for, you know, because I never ever test God of War on the PSP on here. Let's test that. So I believe I have a save state. So this when I loaded this up, this was set by default to 4:3. And I think when you're going to play PSP on here, for a lot of the games, you might as well put it by 4:3, because having these widescreen don't actually look very good. And you can see the frame rate in the top right. It's not quite hitting 30. I really don't know if a custom OS would get PPSSPP to play any better than it is now. I think that this is the chip that it is in this device. It's going to work like this. So it's putting in its work at the moment to get this working as much as possible. You could probably, and most likely, change some settings like lower resolution. It probably is at 1x actually. I don't think PPSSPP goes lower than 1x. There might be a couple of settings you could tweak. But to keep it smooth without skipping frames, I'm not sure. Not sure. I'm actually not a huge God of War fan, so like I'm not gonna miss. Yeah, I'm not gonna play this. But even at 20 frames, and I'm actually, you know, I'm, as I usually do, I'm looking at my capture card playing this. Doesn't actually feel too bad. Don't feel too bad at all. Yeah, I got it. Alright, let's blow up that ship. Boom. Smooth. Let's have a look at another game. Let's have a look here. So I had a quick look at Tekken 6 earlier. If my memory recalls, Tekken 6 on the 35, it wasn't smooth. I would say it was just playable, but not recommended playable. Whereas Tekken 6 on the flip on PSP is a little better. Definitely a little better. Yeah. I played 2 stages. This is the second stage I played. The first stage had a little bit more going on, so yeah, I want to be accurate and say it was dipping some more frames there. But if my memory serves me well, this is definitely more playable than it was on the 35 SP. I'm not a huge Tekken fan. I've been seeing a lot of Tekken 8 recently, and I think, God, that could be really fun to play. I used to play a lot of fighting games when I was younger, but like, I don't know, these days I don't have the same competitive spirit. And anybody that knows me, if you don't know on this channel, me on this channel rather, I play a lot of virtual reality, a lot of Population 1. I used to play Contractor Showdown, but they screwed that up. They really screwed it up. So I uninstalled that. Anyway, working pretty good. Pretty good. Let's have a look at one more game. Let's have a look at Grand Theft Auto on here, because I want to use the joystick at least once for a PSP game. No, wait, I didn't. God of War. No, never mind. Alright, let me load state here, because I just played enough to get the bike. Here we go. Sorry, you'll have to forgive me. It's been a little while since I've done... I think my last video was early December, and that was for the Retro Pocket 5. Then Christmas came around, New Year's. I've been pretty busy this January with different stuff. I was actually wondering if I had time for videos. And if I spend a lot of time like recording and editing and doing like a bigger video, it takes a lot more time than doing it like this. So I wanted to do like a flip video, Jesus, where I kind of just like get it out, have a look. I think it's cool. Honestly, I am liking this. And I'm still heads and tails about it. There's a part of me that wants to say you should get a 35XX SP instead if you want bang for your buck. But if you want to feel... Oops. If you want to feel a little better, a bit more functionality, I don't know. There's something about me that says I want to like this more. I want to like this more. And I know that's going to be the case in a couple of months' time. I know it because people will be working on custom OSs for this. And they are at the moment. You already have a few options. You can put Mini UI on here. There's Gamma OS, but I'd like to wait and see where that goes. This is really smooth, by the way. What the hell? Oh dear. Only I would do that. That's cool. Oh my god, he's got a baseball bat. I haven't messed around with the buttons too much on here. I don't know if I stuck anything on the sticks here. But I love the fact that L3 and R3 exist on this device. So, the Odin 2 Portal is coming. Mine's actually coming, I think it's going to come sometime early next week. I'm hoping Monday, maybe. And one of the things I love about it, I don't have a device like that. Is they have the two buttons on the back here, extra functionality buttons, M1 and M2. I love those. Some people don't, but I love them because I love being able to put like a fast forward toggle or something on them. So when a device doesn't have those, it annoys me. And on the flip, there's a lot of games you'll be playing on here. I haven't shown any retro stuff because what's the point? You know it's going to work. But if I want to map fast forwards and things like that, it's let me show that actually, because if I exit out, yeah, I set it on RetroArch. So let me let's have a look at N64. If I want to boot up, say, Banjo-Kazooie, and I've already set a hotkey for this. I think I put this as my hotkey, and then this with fast forward. I use the sticks as like rewinds and fast forwards. If you try and put rewind on in RetroArch for this, it will slow everything down. It doesn't have the power to do so. And I think if I press the middle in, I can set a fast forward toggle. I love that. I know you can use these buttons as well, but I like to have like more buttons to play with, especially in other emulators, because some emulators do not give you a toggle function where you have to use a different button instead. So I really appreciate that. I love having extra buttons. Makes it just way more practical to play certain emulators and certain games for me. We're pretty much going to wind this up now. So we've had a look at PSP. We'll have a brief look at Saturn, because Saturn's a hard one, and I want to show that actually it uses Yaba Sanshiro, which I thought was strange. Actually, Dreamcast uses it uses Flycast. You can either use the standalone version or the core, which is cool. It's a very good emulator, actually. So, yeah, Saturn. I had played a little bit of Panzer Dragoon II. And if we get in here, for some reason, the aspect ratio was set. It says default. Oh, I can't read this. Let's load state. You have to go to config aspect ratio, and it was on original. If you set it by 4:3, it will fill the entire screen. This is a bad test. This is extremely white. But I was testing this, and I was like, great, Saturn works really well on here. I can't remember testing Saturn on the 35 SP. But if you want to play some Saturn on here, it seems to be working quite well. Can I turn that up anymore? There we go. I've never really played 1 and 2. I should play the remaster at least of the first one, because I know they're quite beloved games. And I can't remember which device it was, but I was getting through Panzer Dragoon Saga. And I think I got like halfway through disc 2 or something. And I can't remember why I stopped. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you're playing an RPG that you quite like. And then stuff in life will just come around. Whatever it is at the time. And then you just kind of forget that you were playing the game for some reason. Or if you did, you just think so much time has passed. Am I really that involved in the story? Don't know. That's been the case with me a couple of times. So one of the quality of life things developers have done in like the past 10 years or so, it's kind of nice when you like boot up a game after a long time and like say during the loading screen they start giving you a little like, here's what happened the last time you played. It's like, oh yeah, thanks for that. That was really helpful actually. It just jogs your memory. Dragon Rank Pigeon. Yuck. Okay, is there anything else I can talk about with the Miyoo Mini Flip? I think... Oh, interesting actually. We just played a bunch of games and it's still yellow. So, hasn't been draining as much as I thought. The thing about charging, I did see a Reddit thread about someone having problems charging. The only way I've been charging this is by using the supplied USB cable and charging via my PC. With the USB cable set. I'm not using fast charging, I'm not using a dock or anything like that, just very like slow, just a regular slow charge. I think that's like, I don't know if that's the only way you can. I haven't really like looked into it much. I should try seeing if a fast charge would work this like through a plug or something. I will probably do another video on this device when I find an OS that I love for this and works exactly how I want it to, because then I can do a more in-depth and be like, okay, this is how I think the flip should be, and then I can go, yeah, probably I would recommend it more than the 35. I think it's cool. I do. I think it's cool. Is it worth the price? I don't know. That's the tough one, but I think it's cool. I do think it's annoying that it's just very loud. Here's another test of it. Here's me squeezing the 35 XP. It's pretty sturdy. Here's me squeezing the flip. Right? Is that just me? Am I being weird with this? I don't know. But that's it. It's just some build stuff. Otherwise, love the build of the 35. But I love the thought that's gone into this a little more. Except for the fact that, I don't know, if they could have sourced some things cheaper and made a better build, like, okay, so better speaker, if it had a better speaker, if it had a better vibrator, and if this was sturdier, I don't know, the build quality was just a little better, then hands down, even with stock OS, I think I would recommend it more than the 35. Anyway, I'm pretty much rambling at this point. My next video should be on the Portal 2. It's coming. People are getting theirs now. It's shipping to people. Mine is going to be landing in my country sometime this week, so I assume it's going to be arriving next week. So hopefully a video on the Portal 2 next week. I'm pretty sure that video is just going to be me going, this is the end game, especially for Android. You know, I don't think I need anything more than this. But yeah, sorry, it's been a while. Weird video. I hope that helps somewhat. Thank you very much for watching. If you like it, please give it a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.